after establishing a strong campaign machinery, I saw Morara Kebasu, of course, assembling the presidential sound. And what he decided to do, he came out to conduct 2 rallies in Kenya. And one of the rallies that I saw was in Juja.
Woi, niko Juja na watu wanalia. Woi, niko Juja, watu wanalia, Ruto atatumaliza. Woi, tuko Juja, Ruto atatumaliza. Woi, tuko Juja, Ruto amenyonga watoto. Woi, tuko Juja, Ruto amewachilia fisi na kula watu. Woi, Ruto ameandika wezi kwa serikali wamsaidie kuiba. Woi, niko Juja, Ruto ameharibu uchumi, watu wanalia, hakuna pesa. Woi! Woi! Hey! 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 Watu wa Juja nataka msikie hivi. Kiwa na mchumba wako mnachumbiana mmeenda date, mueleze kwamba mambo ya Ruto hatutaki. Na kama kwa bahati ya Mungu atafika 2027, tutamsafirisha nyumbani bila pole yoyote. We will take William Ruto home without apology. Huyo mtu, mambo ya kupigia mtu kwa sababu ni wa kwetu imekwisha. Hatutapiga tena kura ati kwa sababu mtu anatoka kwetu, ati kwa sababu yeye ni wa kabila yetu. Tumejua kwamba wetu ndio wanatukula sana. Mimi nataka niwaambie hivi watu wa Juja, mambo ya dhuraku komera imekwisha. Kutoka sasa tutapima viongozi na matendo. Na matendo ya William Ruto ni uuaji na wizi na uongo. Anasema tumetenga, tumepanga, tumehakikisha. Hapa vile vile tushaweka mpango ingine. Mimi nitazungumza na huyu mjumbe wenu. Hawa nilikuwa nimeweka pesa lakini wakaleta kisirani. Kwa hii finance bill inakuja, mimi nitaweka pesa ingine ili hawa vijana waweze kupata kazi. Anasema anawajengea nyumba 160,000 ati affordable housing. Na ameumiza uchumi, hatuna pesa. Anataka tutoe wapi pesa ya kununua nyumba? William Ruto anatuzia bed sita Kirinyaga housing program 1.7 million. Kuna mtu wako hapa anaweza nunua nyumba ya 1.7 million? Na kama akona uwezo atainunua Kirinyaga? Anatujengea ama anatuibia? Ni mwizi ama si mwizi? William Ruto asituuzie uoga. Kenya ni home. Kenya ni nyumbani. Na William Ruto akona kura moja hapa Kenya. Hana kura zaidi ya moja, akona kura moja peke yake. Sisi ndio tulimpea urais na tunaweza itoa kwa mikono yake. The people of Kenya are supreme. When the cause is just. Nyinyi watu wa Juja mtakubali? Mimi nataka niwaambie hivi. Nikisema Ruto lies, mnasema all the time. Ruto lies and all the time, and that is his nature.
I think as you can see, a snippet of the Juja rally. He actually got a good reception, and I realized that, of course, he went at night, something I don't advise. I don't advise for him to actually entertain the late night rallies, because actually rallies are supposed to be done within the day, because the night it comes with so much risks, and maybe you might not even be able to manage your own security. But of course, because he's ghosting, he's doing random rallies. He's doing random rallies. Probably that is why it's a bit, he's opting for that. So he's been having a random itinerary where he's unpredictable, because he said he will not go to Mount Kenya, and even called a press briefing and mentioned the reason why he had cancelled the Mount Kenya tour, because he was being trailed by some other operatives within the security sectors and decided not to go. But I think he was just winking the public, then decided to go to Mount Kenya. The reception has been overwhelming, if you ask me. Morara Kebaso was also in Isiolo. And in Isiolo, there is something he did, and he was talking about, he had some two exposés about the construction of the county headquarters. That's number one. And number two was also the construction of some, probably hospital. I want us to watch, maybe look at this.
So we are here at the Isiolo County headquarters. This project, the initial contract was for 870 million. Now, the Isiolo County headquarters was not a county project. This was a national government project through the Ministry of Public Works, where they decided to build for Isiolo County a headquarters under the Equalization Fund. So under the Equalization Fund, the Ministry of Public Works through the national government decided to build a county headquarters for the Isiolo County, costing 870 million. And the contract was signed on the 1st of September 2019. So we are now in 2024. And you can see the building has stalled. It's not ongoing. And to make matters even worse, we've noticed poor workmanship on this building, that it might be a danger to the people of Isiolo, and eventually, if not taken care of, it may collapse. And that collapse may lead to very many deaths. But I may not want to speak into the technical details. Our civil engineer here is going to speak about the technical details.
Thank you so much. We are here conglomerating in front of the county headquarters, which was supposed to be completed, but now is a crime scene. Very few people can do this noble cause. We are patriots of this nation. Going to the details, you can see here, this building, and this section we are going up. This is the expansion joint. And this is going to straight to the top from the foundation. As you can see, it is quite redundant, whereby, as you can see there, the crack has emanated from the top and joined the main concrete, and this has emanated due to the consolidation of the building. Consolidation means settling of the building. So by this means, the foundation of this structure, thereby, at the end of the day, this building might even collapse at one section because it is sinking faster in one area of the foundation, leaving the other area being rigid.
And the crack goes all the way.
So, this is quite visible, as you can see here. So,
very poor one.
I think we go to the center. As you can see, this is the main column that holds the building at the center. And because of those few remarks, as an engineer who is trained, I want to call this structure a structure that we denounce immediately. And by denouncing, we request for demolition with immediate effect. And the people of this country have lost money. And that means we call for a full responsibility for the president of this nation.
Yeah, so the contractor, together with the Ministry of Public Works, which is supposed to supervise this project, this is shoddy work. And this is poor engineering work. And this is poor construction work. For 870 million, we expect a world standard thing. So for it to have a major crack at the center of the building, through the main column that holds the building, this is a crime scene. So there needs to be responsibility for this. Nandio tulisema, some of these projects by this government, they either don't start. If they start, they stall. If they don't stall, they are finished with very poor workmanship and embezzlement of public funds. So we hope that action will be taken, and the people who did this will be deregistered by the Engineers Board of Kenya. So that professional organization called the Engineering Board of Kenya to deregister this civil engineer, structural engineer that did this kind of work. together with the contractor.
I think it's the same problem we have been facing throughout most of the projects, where you find government public money is being used, but instead of channeling the right projects and used in the right manner, people try to use shortcuts, and finally we get this kind of poor buildings which finally don't meet the expectations, and yet the money is all to private accounts to enrich selfish politicians, which have been enabled by our president Ruto.
So essentially our message is, if the president can take his job seriously and recruit people who are competent into his government, beginning with a minister who actually understands what public works and construction is, somebody is competent in that field. Secondly, to root out all corrupt engineers, people wenye wanajaza tu tumbo na wanafanya kazi mbovu. So you see, the fish rots from the head. If the president is not keen on his job, but is keen on embezzlement of public funds, then the people at the bottom, they joke like this. So otherwise, let's go to the next project.
Now, so Morara Kebaso has taken an angle of number one, unpredictable, random rallies, which is actually also very advisable, because sometimes in this country, if you become too much predictable, then these fellows will be after you, and it might not be able, you might not even be able to manage your own itinerary. But there is a question he asked that I want us to try to answer. There is a question he asked yesterday, and I've been seeing Kenyans reacting to that. I would want us to look at that question partly, and so that we can ask, should he continue injecting, or he should develop a more passive, what do you feel about my messaging strategy? Should I hit straight at the character of Zakayo, or would I like to be would you like me to adopt a more neutral tone when referring to his inefficiencies and corruption? And there have been a couple of reactions here. I saw one person, this was, yes, I saw one person, Nelson Harvey, advising him to have passive messaging and not be able to hit on the president. So I want to ask you even that question, because I like analysis on messaging. I like when people demand answers on messaging. Now, should Morara Kebaso speak neutral? Funike, should he have passive messaging, or should he hit on the head? What do you think? What do you think? Because I've seen what Nelson Harvey is saying. Nelson Harvey is advising that when he looks good, he packages messaging as if not targeting the president, and he looks good, then even the president's supporters would coalesce around him and support his cause. But if he appears like he's hitting the president, then he would attract condemnation and maybe rage amongst the supporters of President William Samoei Arap Ruto. But I would want to ask Nelson Harvey that question. I would want to reframe it this way and ask, of course, can you have support of all the Kenyans? The answer is no. You cannot get support from all Kenyans. But between those who support Ruto and those who feel uncomfortable by the leadership of President Ruto, where is the majority? Currently, as we speak, the majority are on the side that are uncomfortable with the current policies that Kenya Kwanza is churning out. So if you're looking for majority, because whichever way you cannot have the support of all Kenyans behind you, then you may need to go the other side. So I want to answer my question. I want to stand my ground and say that in Morara Kebaso messaging, he must address William Samoei Arap Ruto, the president, directly. And I have some 4 reasons why I'm thinking that is the best strategy. The first thing, when you address the president, and the more you threaten to eat into its voting support, or rather you eat into his popularity, then the compact majority around the president will point and look at Morara Kebasu as a person of interest. And so as a person of interest, what will it be? As we speak, you can see a host of UDA MPs that do support the president during events. They normally don't comment about Morara Kebasu. But recently when he was in Citizen JKL, the state house spokesperson, Hussein Mohammed, even called during the live show, and was trying to debunk the narrative as to whether the president called him or not. I remember, in fact, I like the narrative when he came out and said, the president called me. For me, I was looking at it in this way. Whether the president called or not, it's not of significance. But the fact that State House is struggling to convince the country that president did not call Morara is already a plus. So what is going to give him image and what is going to give him political clout is president's handlers, the UDA MPs, the campaign battalion around President Ruto, realizing that, okay, so and so is not probably friendly to us. So if you ask me, that is the first reason. He will become a person of interest. Even, that is what will make him who he is. If you want to become the king, it's you go after that king. That's the first reason. The second thing why I support the combative direct messaging for Morara Kebasu to adopt is to rejuvenate the young people, to rejuvenate the Gen Z that has been silenced by the kind of that broad-based agreement. The reason why there is that broad-based agreement is because William Ruto wanted to remove Raila mania from the street. So why am I going for a combative messaging? Hit the president directly. The Gen Zs that come out are looking for a brave man. They're looking for the bold and the brave that can come out and tell Mr. President, this is wrong, this is right. So for you to camouflage and for you to get the traction of the young people in the country, for you to get to hear what really they are saying, you must hit directly. And through that, they will be able to identify themselves with one person. I've been saying one thing that I've seen Morara Kebasu running a national campaign. But there's nothing wrong with that. But with that clout, he can easily get a seat somewhere, even if not presidency. Governor, MP, senator. But of course, if you want to change the country, it starts at the top there. So I go for combative direct messaging so that you get the traction of the young people who are the largest voting bloc in 2027. Guys, in 2027, those who were born in 2002, in my family, we are 6. Our last born was born in 2000 and what? No, our second last born was born in 2004. Probably that gentleman is going to vote for the first time in 2005, yes. That gentleman is going to vote for the first time in 2027. So there are a number of first-time voters. And that is the group that falls within the Gen Z. So that is the other thing what I'm seeing. The other aspect why I would encourage Morara Kebasu to just face Ruto head-on is you get the attention of the media. By the way, the media shapes the opinion around anyone in this country. You cannot take that away from them. The media will shape the political perception and opinion formed around any candidate. Do you know why people are saying that Kalonzo is weak? I can tell you Kalonzo is not weak, but Kalonzo does not have the traction of the media. Does he do things? Yes. Just for this week, if you check the Twitter page for Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, he's met a delegation from some different parts of the country. Every Sunday, Kalonzo is in a church service. And we're only going to give Kalonzo some highlights when he's struggling to be a running mate to Raila, or probably, or when there is something like pulling out of Azimio la Umoja. But he's lacked that, the sharpness, ile ngrungu ya kugonga amekosa. And that is why the media doesn't get. Remember, the media is also driven by numbers. Morara Kebaso has the numbers and has been attracting those numbers. So why Kalonzo has been deemed as weak or perceived as a weak candidate is because of he's not formed. The media has not shaped and formed who he is. If you look at how Morara is evolving from a public auditor, someone who has been walking around and pointing, just the same way, and I like what he did by, copying Ruto, amevaa nguo yake akiwa juu and using the language. And she are there, nilikuja hapa. That is it. And why did people know him? People knew him because even that style, the style he used to do when he was exposing. So even on messaging going direct, probably when at campaign, you have to adopt a different character and you have to be someone else. You cannot be William Ruto in the campaign rally. Otherwise, you will be campaigning for William Ruto. Or you will be seen. And of course, the comical part of it will be seen as not being serious. I understand, not being serious. But if you want to get nod of everything, you must get out and hit. The other thing is Morara Kebaso should be able to rattle the oligarchs around. When you hit the president directly, you should rattle, and let me use the word annoy or disorganize, a clique of people around the president that see him as a man who can seize power from Ruto. The Oscar Sudis of our time. You know what will happen? There will be an attempt to unleash state machinery. And what will make you? Look at Joho. When Joho was telling President, Mimi hautanitisha, and the Uhuru Kenyatta was in Mombasa. And so Joho wanted to go and attend that event where President was launching something. And the security details, the police were deployed all over and were blocking Joho from going. And the whole cameras were on Joho. Now, those are the things that made Joho. So if there will be a rally, you will be a rally. I've seen a poster somewhere, I think in Embo, asking that Morara Kebaso should not go to Embo. Now, those are the things that will mark Morara. If they unleash the state machinery on you to stop you, then those are the things that should actually pray for. But for you to get that clearly, you must also be able to understand, or rather you must also be able to go directly. Hit directly and explain your agenda. Now, the other issue, or the other factor why I will support direct messaging is this. Between now and 2027, William Ruto's competitor, or who is perceived or who want to compete against William Ruto, must be able to point out that what Ruto has said is not what he has done. If we speak about Waziri there, no one is going to listen to that. If the candidate is William Ruto, because the strongest candidate in 2027 is William Ruto, it will be difficult to transition from passive to a more combative approach. It will be difficult. In fact, there will be no difference between a Morara and what some committee of MPs, parliamentary committee normally does, of going to work in projects and then just run around. And in fact, he's going to lose his character. His character was that combative one. If you go neutral and you start now massaging the factors, the facts, then you'll be perceived as someone who has been bought, and through that, you lose it. So if you ask me, I choose to take that Morara can go head on. And through that, he will make a significant impact. He will really hold grip of his constituency, who are the young people and people that believe in accountability. And again, I believe that even some civil society organizations that are advancing good governance will be able to coalesce around his candidature and even support him if he decides to run for the office. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my take. Morara should not become another Kalonzo. He must stick to the combative age.